I've always wanted to do a canoe trip on the River Wye, but had kept putting it off for years. Turning the big half-century recently was maybe the catalyst to do something to challenge myself and leave behind my comfort zone for a few days. My mate Wal from a long way back had recently bought himself an expedition canoe, and my good friend Sal had lent me hers in return for a renovation paint job. I had a vague idea of where the Wye started and where it ended, but the route it took as it winds itself between Wales and England was quite sketchy to me. A quick look at a map and a guidebook revealed that the so-called Middle Wye section rated as one of the finest trips on the river. Allowing ourselves 3 or 4 days, I planned an itinerary that took us 30 miles downstream from Glasbury in Wales to the city of Hereford in England. Both Wal and I have a disdain for organised campsites. I'm sure that this comes from spending nights out in the woods as teenagers. We were a pretty feral bunch as kids. So on this trip, we both wanted to avoid the campsites and have a few nights in the wild. There are many gravel beaches along the river, and provided that you treat the countryside with respect, i.e. you leave no trace that you've been there, it's entirely possible to wild camp along the river. Surely that's the joy of being outside, waking up with just the sound of the river with a dawn chorus rather than the coughing and muttering of a horde of other campers. The Wye is a flowing river, and it's a step up from the slow, almost still rivers that I've been practicing on in preparation for this trip. There were a few challenging sections of fast water, the most notable being the narrow channel that forms a rapid at Monnington Falls. Being June and high summer in England, there were a couple of soggy, wet mornings. Thankfully, a well-situated yew tree provided timely shelter, and the freshly brewed coffee revived us and powered us on through some of the most scenic stretches on the river. The scenery constantly changes, and being on the river, you're much more aware of the subtle changes. After a fast descent through some pretty quick-moving water, we came upon Bredwardine Bridge. This red brick bridge has to be the most attractive on the whole river. We paddled about 30 miles in all, had 3 undisturbed nights in some of the most peaceful surroundings that I've ever encountered in the UK, and both of us experienced a shift in our mindset to a more serene state. It's whetted my appetite for more river trips. I don't know why I waited so long to experience this beautiful river.